Hey everybody, how are you guys? Today is December 27th, 2025, and we are back with another language learning log. Christmas came, the New Year's is coming, and I am thankful for still being on this earth, which, by the way, I'm not saying that I'm sick or anything, none of that. I'm just in good health and appreciative for that fact. Anyways, let's go ahead and get on with the vlog. A short, simple one. I didn't really get to do much in the way of like the conjugation practice tool, but I made sure to at least maintain my Kotu and Anki at the very least. This was a really weird week for me. I'm not gonna lie, it was stupid busy. It's the holidays, so I suppose that does entail some level of effort with cooking and family and blah 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 blah. But it's just something I didn't expect to have adversely affected my studying as much as it has. I didn't really even read much manga, to be honest with you. But I did start with a homie watching Naruto in English sub, Japanese dub, and I shadow as the show is playing to work on my pronunciations, and watching the subtitles and knowing some of what they are saying really has showed me just how different Japanese is to English. Hear me out. So the sentence structure of Japanese is obviously subject, object, verb, which makes for fun English subtitles being off. So like a character will say something and it'll show the back half of what the character is saying first, and then the first half is the back end of the sentence in English, if that made any sense. It kind of reminds me of when like in old kung fu films from like the 80s or 90s where the mouth is moving but the sentence isn't really matching what they're physically saying. Anyways, just something I noticed. I digress. Onto my Kotu stats. The overall percentage increased by quite a margin. We're at a 63.3%, which is a 9.3 increase for those of you who've been tracking the stats. Odaka Heiban has gone up to 67%, which is an 8.15 increase. Atamadaka is sitting at a 58%, which is a 10% increase, and Nakadaka is sitting at a 70.33%, which is a 12.19% increase. Now, as you can see, holy shit, we had a huge explosion in terms of progress for my identification scores, and I'm going to tell you why. The TLDR is I didn't know what someone was saying when they said you could play back the audios after you answer it to like hear it again so you can kind of spot the difference. So I would just kind of speed through my 100 answers and was having a really hard time identifying pitch accent and stuff because I had no frame of reference. Well, I went to click on the first attempt of the prior week, and bam, I see in big text. Like, I don't know how I missed this, but I see in big text, click to play audio for both answers, and the continue button. So, needless to say, I never claimed to be smart. I just claimed to be somebody who's learning. So, there we have it. I think going forward with this new tool kind of in mind, or well, it's not new tool, but now knowing more about the tool that I'm using, we should see those percentages just continue to climb. They'll eventually plateau out, but as of right now, huge gains, which is good, great even. Now let's kind of move on to the Japanese speaking portion. So 僕の髪を見せてくれました。俺は髪を切りました。そして嬉しいです。嬉しいです。俺の意味は悪かったよ。でも今は美しい。So, thanks for letting me yammer there. Not gonna lie, I'm feeling myself a little bit. But anyways, next week's study plans really are just about locking in and buckling down. I go to Japan the following week. If you guys didn't know, I'm going to Japan. I've mentioned it a few times and stuff, but now that it's really here, I feel the importance of being able to share that. And so I have reservations to call in and ensure we're booked properly. So speaking practice, yay. I also have more Naruto to watch, and I really need to get on my particle practice. I've been kind of putting grammar off to the side for a little bit, and if you didn't notice earlier, I didn't really explain a new grammar point Usually with each week, I want to kind of explain a new grammar point to you guys because it not only helps you guys, but it helps me kind of reflect back on myself and be like, did I actually learn anything this week? Oh, my hair's doing like a thing. I just kind of looked over at the camera. Anyways, it is a major bummer, but Anki ensures the minimum of at least vocab. So the only thing that I really need to focus on is just making sure to hammer grammar along with my vocab that I'm learning. Either way, I need to get back to reading, studying, and everything a lot more diligently if I if I want to have the means to go to Japan and communicate, at least at a first grade level. Aside from that, I also was going to say, following into the new year, I also am going to be streaming more. Sundays, I do a Nuzlocke of Pokemon with a friend. That's not in Japanese, by the way, so for those strictly interested in my Japanese language journey, Sundays are not going to be the day for you. But I am thinking of on Saturdays, on top of uploading these guys, so on top of uploading these little language logs, I'm thinking of also streaming some games and stuff in Japanese. I'll have to figure out my schedule and kind of what that's going to look like, but I think games are a really strong immersion tool, as instructions are needed to be followed to progress, and it kind of forces you into an almost survival or necessity mode, as you kind of obviously need to be able to read to understand what's going on, and then of course with the story, there's just a lot under the hood. So anyways, we'll kind of see from there. In the comments, of course, feel free to ask me questions and stuff, and stay tuned for a big announcement next Saturday. The language logs that I have planned for when I'm in Japan are going to be sick, and I'm going to be talking about a little bit more once I have the ideas flushed through in my mind. And anyways, thanks for listening. Arigatou gozaimasu. And since I am not going to see you guys for New Year's, I just also want to go ahead and say, Akemashita omedetou gozaimasu. Sayonara.